Welcome back. In this lesson we are going to see how we can add password validation to our create user route service. We are also going to demonstrate how to show error messages on the sign up screen if there is a problem with the password that the user just typed. So the first thing that we need is a node package for doing password validation. And we are going to be using this one simply called the password validator. So if we scroll down, we can see that this package has an API which is very easy to read, very simple to use. So we will be using this package in our project. So we are going to install it. We are going to switch over here to the command line and we are simply going to run npm install password validator. Now we want to guard ourselves against the possibility of having to change the password validator in the future. So it's important not to add dependencies all over our application towards this specific package. So what we're going to do here is we are going to create here a facade that is going to isolate this package in only one file. We are going to create here a file that we are going to call password validation. And this will be the only file that will have dependencies towards this package password validator. Let's see how we are going to do that. We are going to take here the example code that is available in their documentation and we are going to paste it in here. We are going to be switching here some vars to const and we can also rewrite this import in order to use ES6 syntax. So we are going to do import star as password validator from this package. And with this we have an ES6 import, the equivalent syntax. So let's see what password policy we are going to use. Let's say that we want a minimum of 10 characters. It's a good idea not to limit this. We are going to request uppercase and lowercase characters, digits, not spaces, and we could also add here a couple of more blacklisted values. But this is already a good start for a password policy. So we are going to remove the rest here of the file. So now we have here a schema to validate passwords. This is private to this file because it has not been exported. So to the outside of this file, only a function will be visible. The function is going to be called simply validate password. It's going to take as input the password, which is a string, and it's going to return a boolean. So inside this function, it's going to be the only place in the application where this third-party package, the password validator, is going to be used. So we are going to do here schema validate, and we are going to pass in here the password that we want to validate, and we are going to configure this to return the result as a list of error codes. So this is going to return the empty array if there are no errors in the password according to this policy, and if there are errors it's going to return an error code for each. Now that we have this function available, we can use it here in the create user route and in any other part of the application that would need this logic. So the first thing that we're going to do here is we are going to validate the password using this new function. So we are going to import the function using Alt-Enter, and we are going to pass to this function the password that we have just received via the HTTP request. Based on the output of this function, we are going to see if there are any errors. So we are always expecting an array, and if there are no errors, this is going to be the empty array. So this means if there are errors, the length is going to be larger than 0. And then in that case, we are going to return the errors to the front end so that they can be displayed. We are going to return here an error code. We are going to return the status code 500, for example. But this is considered to be a very generic error. So we are going to send an error 400 that essentially means that there was a malformed request from the client side. Together with the status code, we are also going to send a JSON object that is going to have only one property, errors, and the value of the property will be the array of error codes that we got from the password validation. Now, on the other hand, if the password was validated successfully, then we are going to create the user on the database and send the status code 200. And with this in place, we are sending back to the client any errors that occurred while validating the password. So now we need to display them on the screen to the user. That's what we're going to do in the following lesson.